Hey guys, it's Jackie from Homeschool Hangout by Nerd Family, and today we're going to talk about taxes and the homeschooler. If you like homeschool videos, do me a favor while you're thinking about it, go ahead and subscribe and give this video a thumbs up and join our little family here. So let's get into it. I have notes and everything, very official. So there's about 4 big points that I'm going to go through. First off, everyone pays public school taxes and fees. There basically breaks down into 3 different levels of taxes. First, schools are paid for out of the federal taxes. So when you heard things years ago, if you're old enough, like No Child Left Behind, things like that, those were all federally funded public school programs. And that is a section of the United States Department of Education. 2, state taxes. So part of your normal income tax is some of that money goes to pay for public schools. It also goes to pay for public state colleges and public state universities. And number 3, and this is the most variable to me, and that is property taxes. Property taxes, a portion of that goes specifically to help support that area's public school district. Now, when I say that, I am in the Fresno area. Clovis has always been known for having higher property taxes, and that money goes to the schools. It has even been told to me that if you live in Fresno, but your kids go to a Clovis Unified School by districting, not by transfer, you pay a higher premium on your property tax, and that gets diverted to Clovis. So those are the big ways that you already are paying into the system for public school. Second point, there's no exemptions. And when I say that, I mean the childless pay taxes, and that goes to support the public school. You usually actually pay less overall tax if you have a child because you claim them as a dependent. But everyone pays public school taxes regardless of where your kids go to school, if you have kids that go to school, period. Similarly to how you pay for welfare, how you pay for the IRS, how you pay for the Army. It's just part of what government provides. And so there's no exemption. So if you start homeschooling, you're not going to get an exemption on that. I'm sorry, you don't get the public funding that would have gone for your student to their public school. You don't get that back. Now, that also means, though, you don't pay any more taxes. I recently had somebody ask me if they have to pay a fee or a tax to homeschool in California specifically. And no, you don't. The school funding is built into the overall structure of our government. And then basically the schools themselves get paid a flat amount plus a specific amount for each student who is in attendance. So you as a homeschooler, at least in the state of California, I've not heard of a different state that does it differently, but you don't have to pay any fees to the state for homeschooling or any additional taxes. But you will not get any back. There's no exemption. But separately, I've been asked a lot about deductions. Well, if I'm paying for school materials, I get to deduct that, right? No, you don't. It's parenting. And we can get into it in a different video about there's no correlation between how much you spend on homeschool materials and how great your student does. But you don't get it back. You don't get a refund on what you've paid. You don't get to deduct what you want off of that. It's tough. It's not even like teachers in the public school, if they spend 7% of their income, they can deduct it because that's a work expense. Homeschooling is not a work expense, unfortunately, though it is a lot of work. You will not get a refund. That brings us to one more thing, and this is California specific. None of the rest of this has really been California specific, other than maybe how property taxes work. But if you're filing your PSA in October, wait till October to file your PSA. That's when it changes for the school year. There are a bunch of questions, and one of them is, are you a nonprofit? And more than one person, and I understand the philosophy behind it, goes, well, I'm not making a profit, so I'm a nonprofit, right? No, you are not a nonprofit. A nonprofit is a tax entity, both in the state and in the nation federally. And you have to file articles of incorporation type things. It's a whole specific thing. Even though you're not making any money at this deal, you are not a nonprofit, so you don't get that tax exemption. I'm sorry. It's heartbreaking. I know, I know. But look at it this way. People who never have children pay more taxes than people who have children, and they're paying for a public school system that they are not using at all. It is considered part of the public good. And when I say that, I mean Fresno County libraries. You know, we have county funding for a lot of different programs I personally will never partake in. I also know that that's a reason that a lot of people choose to continue public schooling or charter schooling their child. Well, I'm paying for it, I might as well get a benefit of it. Well, you could declare war in the United States and get the benefit of seeing the Army in action, but we don't want to do that. You don't want to need to have welfare, but your taxes pay for that too. So don't let that be a huge motivator on choosing to homeschool or choosing not to homeschool. But it is heartbreaking. We are paying for a system. I remember being a kid and my mom put me in Catholic school for part of a year. And Ronald Reagan was trying to get like a school choice voucher system going. And she's like, if we would have gotten the voucher system, we would have kept you in private school. But they just couldn't justify paying a full tuition, especially since we weren't Catholic. And the reason I say that is if you haven't been involved in the Catholic school system, you get discounts if you're a member. We were not a member. We were paying full board, no discounts, and no way to get a discount. Tuition, and my parents were paying taxes. And at that point, financially for them, it didn't make sense. But it always broke my heart. I always loved being in private schools. So there has been talk of different years, but remember, any private school that decides to accept federal or state funding is going to be under their thumb up to a certain point. So that is one of the big reasons that I don't advocate for school choice as far as allowing vouchers to be put into private schools. And there are even private universities who won't take federal money because they don't want them to sully them at all. Hillsdale is the one that comes to mind first off. Any other tax questions I'm probably not qualified to answer, but I may know how to look them up and find somebody who is. Let me know down in the comments. How much does the fact that you pay taxes into public school, how much has it in the past or does it in the future shadow your mind as to making education decisions for your children? I am really interested. Let me know down in the comments and I will talk to you guys later. Bye.